So who the heck is Aaron Fisher? So when I was a kid, my uncle was and still is an electrical engineer. And we used to have conversations about how computers were being used in his work. And then my parents bought our family's first computer, a Pentium 1, when I was late in my primary school years. From there, my interest took off. I dabbled a bit in website design, but I wasn't very good at it before studying IT at TAFE and landing my first job as a technical support engineer. Now, while it was my uncle who inspired me to get into computers, it was my dad who I learnt the greatest lessons of growing up. And that's him there in the blue shirt. So what my dad taught me was about delivering quality product, or in my case, a quality service. And I remember spending time with him, helping him install kitchen and bathroom cupboards in new houses or renovations of houses, and how meticulous he was with things. He was a cabinet maker that made custom-built cabinets and furniture, and he never rested till he was happy with the quality of his work and his client was happy. I guess you could say he was also my first example of what it means to lead by example or practice what you preach. He also taught me about the principles of hard work, and you can get better at anything if you just do the work or practice. And that's him there in the background of that top photo, installing a door on a cupboard. Not sure he'd be meeting occupational health and safety standards today. That photo was taken a good 20 years ago, and things were different back then. And that bottom photo is one of his many pieces of furniture that he built for one of his clients. He always got repeat orders. So over my journey, I've worked for both external and internal IT companies, starting out in technical support, doing system and network administration, as well as implementing security measures. And I did this from when I finished my TAFE studies in 2003 until I decided to go travelling overseas in 2011 after being made redundant from an internal IT role. So while I was travelling overseas, I backpacked for Europe for 3 months with a rough plan, and that changed many times. And from there, I flew across to Canada to get my working holiday visa activated. And I worked outside of the IT industry in hospitality roles and did as much travelling and snowboarding as I possibly could. So while I certainly had a great time on my travels, it wasn't completely problem-free. Towards the end of my time in Canada, I was caught up in the Calgary floods of 2013 and had to evacuate. Where I was staying at the time was just across the road from the Saddle Dome, which is where the Calgary Flames NHL team plays ice hockey. Also in 2013, this other really bad thing happened to me, where my very overused password was breached through a third-party website, before I was then baited a short time later with a scam free gift campaign, which I also fell for. Now, obviously, I got off relatively lightly compared to other cyber attacks caused by breached passwords, and just had a lot of my own personal passwords to change. And I should have known better. I had changed my ways earlier in my career. However, I'd fallen victim to our natural human tendencies of being extremely lazy. This taught me a very important lesson, and I'm happy to say that I've stuck. Now, naturally, I knew I had to help educate and protect other partners, directors, and their teams, and it inspired me to become a cybersecurity specialist. Then in 2014, a really good thing happened to me. I was introduced to this really advanced technology that I knew would help really protect business owners and their teams from ruin. I decided to double down on learning and applying this knowledge. I spent many hours after work in my own time studying the technology and how to best implement it before implementing it for the clients of the business that I was working for. From there, I obtained a leading cybersecurity certification called the Certified Information Systems Security Professional, or CISSP for short. You can only obtain this certification if you have a minimum of 5 years on-the-job experience in what are termed common bodies of cybersecurity knowledge and are sponsored by another CISSP. Like many of you have to do CPD, I must also do CPD to maintain my certification. And since then, I've done a lot of study and implemented solutions in my own time on how to best protect firms from cyber attack, doing everything I possibly can to educate and protect my clients and educate potential clients about the very real dangers to their reputation and their family's livelihood from a cyber attack and why they need to take action. In the past 12 months, I've also wrote a book, which I should be receiving copies from the publisher very soon. And the book's titled Protect Your Legacy, How to Confidently Protect You and Your Firm from the Fines, Lawsuits, Customer Loss, Ruined Reputation, and PR Nightmare resulting from a data breach and cybercrime. And here's a photo of my family today. This was taken on the weekend that we celebrated my mum's 60th birthday party on the family farm in Yallingup. My mum Judy and dad Mark, my sister Armini with her 2 boys, Jed and Kai, and their dog Fonzie, the Border Collie, my sister Gemma and her husband Damien with their 3 kids, Indy, Maddie and Hamish, and lastly, my little brother Toby and his girlfriend Sarah.